Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, the show where we dive into how digital marketing agencies are using paid media to drive real growth for their clients and for themselves. From planning to ROI and everything in between, we uncover the strategies, stories, and systems that set agencies apart. Each episode, we'll talk with agency leaders who are innovating with paid media, scaling their businesses, and delivering results that matter. Whether you're looking to expand your services or sharpen the edge of your current offerings, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, your inside look at the people, strategies, and ideas redefining what's possible in modern marketing. Today's guest is Trish Saemann, founder and CEO of GoBeyond SEO, a digital marketing agency dedicated to helping businesses generate predictable growth through SEO, paid media, and strategic digital marketing. Welcome to the show, Trish. Can you share a little bit more about your work over at GoBeyond SEO?
Sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. My work over at GoBeyond SEO, sometimes it feels like I'm wrangling chickens, honestly. But the way that I actually run my business is through strategic SEO and strategic SEM. And we also offer fractional CMO services when appropriate. We typically try to do a diagnostic on our clients to see if they're a good fit in the first place, because why spend money on something that isn't actually a good fit? So we typically know what industries work really well with us, but once in a while we're surprised. We'll come upon a business that's got some potential, or they do have an opportunity based on our diagnostic, and we'll take them. But for the most part, we typically stay with certain kinds of industries with our processes. But yeah, we've been at it for a long time.
That's awesome. What originally drew you to marketing, and at what point did you realize this was more than just a career, it was your calling?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, because I've been around, as I mentioned, a long time, I was working for CBS, and I was doing advertising for CBS and doing some ad sales as well.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to stay in the corporate world. So I wanted to build a business that was flexible, but something that I also knew how to do. So when I was an undergrad, I did study marketing, I did study advertising. But what drew me was my instincts. I'm happy to say that we were moving away from broadcast media and into digital media. So this is 2007, 2008, 2009. And I was working for CBS at the time, and I could see that a lot of the money that was going towards what they would call broadcast media, so TV, radio, or billboards, was starting to get moved into banner ads or some kind of website development or digital marketing.
Yeah.
And we were offering that as kind of an add-on at the time. But then people started wanting that more than they wanted TV spots. So I saw that transitioning happening and decided to go in that direction. So yeah, it was a very pivotal time at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And we have that kind of history in common, which I think I remember those days very well
Mhm.
as well. So is there a challenge that you faced early on when you were doing this that shaped how you lead your team and how you serve your clients today?
Sure. Several challenges. Cash flow was one of them, knowing how to price for this, how to define an ROI, which I actually found far easier in digital marketing than I did in broadcast marketing. You could actually see one-to-one, person did this, and then made a purchase, where much harder to do with, with TV and radio. There are ways, but it was much harder to do.
Mhm.
And living by that ROI was part of what helped me define how we were going to lead, because we weren't just leading our team, but we're leading our clients as well, like walking them through, here's what your expectations can be. Because I think, especially at the time, and to a degree still now, people are under the mistaken impression that digital marketing is a cure-all or a silver bullet, or and it really isn't. What it is just easier to track so that you can pivot more appropriately and more quickly. And I think that the main distinction I made with regards to my team was an element of customization that's necessary for each client, because each client is different, but ultimately so are their clients. And not just looking at things like demographic, but also looking at things like psychographic when you're writing ads or when you're crafting blog posts for their SEO or something along those lines. Like knowing not just your client, but who your client serves is ultimately who we serve. So that's kind of informed our leadership.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it is so true. There's so many layers to
There are.
yeah, to marketing and to advertising and working with clients. So, is there one thing that you would say motivates you most today, like seeing the growth of a business or the success of your clients or the impact your team is having? Is there anything like one thing that motivates you? That's kind of a tough question, I know, because
Oh,
there's
that's all
probably
right.
many, but
There are, but I would say, and I don't like using this word because it gets overused and ultimately undermines its significance, but authenticity and being honest and being real and not trying to do a bait and switch. Today's consumer is just so much more savvy than there were, say, back in the day.
yeah.
And there's so much research you can do. And it isn't just, oh, let me ask one of my girlfriends what their experience was. You can actually get like hard fact hitting facts on people's experiences, not just from Google reviews, but on things like Reddit and places like that, where you can research like, is this snake oil or is this real? So whenever we're trying to really kind of, I mean, there are ways to delineate ourselves from competitors and stuff like that, but that's the one unifying thing that I have found has kept us from being impacted by any of the algorithm shifts, like, your pandas and your penguins and what other pea animal they throw in there, is being true to what the search tells us, what the behavior tells us, and then producing that and kind of matching those two together. So being straightforward, being honest, and taking a hard but critical analysis of the market research, that's been the biggest,
Yeah.
most uniform throughout the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about paid media for a second. So, paid media can scale a
Mhm.
business very quickly, but it can
Yep,
also drain budgets fast.
just
So,
like that.
just like that. So,
Yeah.
what separates brands that win with paid ads from those that struggle?
So one is giving yourself enough runway, having the right amount of budget. So I use this analogy a lot where I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am, if you can't tell, I am not from Charlotte, North Carolina. I do speak with a bit of a northern accent. So my family's from New York. And if we were to say, gas up our car and wanted to get to Charlotte from New York, and we only had $50 to do that, be like, let's gas up the car, let's put 50 bucks in there, we're gonna keep driving. And then we get to like Virginia-ish. And it's
Mhm.
like, but look, we got far, but we never hit our goal. And
Yeah.
part of the reason why you never hit your goal is because you never put enough budget aside for how long it was going to take you to get to New York. It just is what it is. The vehicle needs a certain amount of gas. It
Mhm.
just does.
Yeah.
And paid ads are very similar in that regard. If you don't give it enough runway, then it's not gonna take off, right? So people are like, "Oh, sure, so what you're saying is just throw money at it." No, I'm not just saying just throw money at it. That same 50, to take the analogy one step further, that same $50 would actually take a motorcycle way further than it would, say, a passenger van with 15 people, right?
Mhm.
So you want to be very tight and aggressive with your SEM. You wanna make sure that you're targeting a very specific audience, and that can help keep your budget tight and aggressive. And you want to make sure that your language speaks immediately to the problem or whatever the outcome is, that, whatever the goal is.
Right.
Um, but you want to make sure that you're speaking and writing your ads in a way that you're speaking directly to a person as opposed to like, come one, come all. That's a great way to lose money. So you want to
Mhm.
be very specific and you want to be very tight with your vehicle and you want it to have a very specific goal. But then with that goal, make sure that you back it up with enough budget. So it isn't just budget, it is knowing your market and knowing the message and then picking the right medium. So is Facebook ads where you should be, your meta ads should be, or should you be on Google ads? Meta ads, much more demographic related, whereas, Google ads is demographic related too, but it's much more behavior based. Somebody's
Mhm.
actively looking for you, whereas meta ads, they're not really looking for you. They're doing something else. So it's much more of an intrusive ad. So picking the right medium or the right vehicle really matters as well.
Yeah, I love that analogy. I think I'm gonna steal it and
Oh,
I'm
it gets
gonna use
stolen
it.
all the time. I've had
It is
more than one person tell me
yeah.
that they're gonna steal that analogy, so
It
go
is
for
so
it.
good. I mean, it really does paint that picture for you, which is what marketing is painting a picture, right?
It is. That's
So
exactly
great
right.
job. You're in the right industry.
Thank you, I'm in the right industry.
Yeah. What is one of the biggest misconceptions you're seeing business owners make when it comes to running Google or Meta ads? Is there one big misconception you see?
I do see something happen with Meta, which is they think that social media leads to ads, or excuse me, leads to leads, and it doesn't lead to leads. Now, Meta ads can lead to leads, but people think that if they have a robust social media presence that they will get clients. Maybe. But
Right.
that's not really its job. Now, ads, that's its job. Its whole job is to bring in people. And then as far as misconception is that they think that Google ads and Meta ads, much like I just described, are used in the same way. And really, they are actually complementary because again, if you need to educate someone, if you have a new widget and you have a new product, or if you're doing a huge promotion, awesome, good for you. I'm happy for you. Meta. But if somebody actively knows that they need you, they need a plumber, they need a lawyer, they need they need a mechanic, they need something right now, they're going to go to Google or they're going to go to AI because we can touch on that too, but they're going to search for it.
Yeah.
Whereas in meta ads, it's you have to kind of create the need. It's a little more demand generation. You can educate them. Now, don't get me wrong. You can put stuff in there that, restaurants or plumbing, sure, you can give that a try. But really its job is to educate and create the need, whereas Google ads are really more designed to fulfill the need.
Yeah.
So big distinction.
Yeah. I love that. When you do your audit, a paid media account for the first time, what are the first few things that you look at to diagnose performance?
Sure. I want to see how wide the search is and how much budget they're throwing behind it. And, if they're looking for a specific geography, if they're looking for a specific demographic. Because again, kind of getting back to my CBS days, there used to be demographics that they would say, oh, it's, 25 to 54 or, 18 to 36. Now, I don't know about you. But when I was 18 and when I was 36 versus where I am now, my decision-making process was influenced by very different things. So making the assumption that somebody who's, say, 30 makes the same decision as somebody who's 50, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a restaurant. Everybody likes tacos, so there's no problem. Great. Are they making the same decision? Is the 30-year-old showing up with two kids or is the 50-year-old showing up with two teenagers? I don't know. So, like it really does when I go look at those ads, I'm constantly trying to see who are we targeting? Is it tight, but is it too tight? Because you can go the other way too. You can be too narrow.
Right.
Um, is the message matched to that demographic audience? Because again, not all 40-year-old women are the same. They don't all vote the same. They don't think the same. They don't show up in the world the same way. They don't have the same skin color. They don't have the same religious beliefs. They don't love the same people. It can be very different. So you want to make sure that who you're targeting is the right audience and that you're pairing it with the right message. So when I'm looking at ad campaigns, the first thing that I look for is, do they have enough budget and how wide a market are we going for?
Yeah. How do you balance the short-term wins from paid media with long-term strategies like SEO and organic growth?
It's a tricky balance.
Yeah.
So in the most ideal world, your SEO eventually could replace your Google ads. Does that actually happen? Usually not. I mean, if it's working, why turn it off, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But what we do like to do is let one inform the other. So what we feel is that when you're doing a comprehensive SEO campaign, you're going to start showing up for not just the keywords you're going for, like you do with Google Ads, but you're going to start showing up for keywords that are adjacent to it because it truly is organic. So whenever you have organic or adjacent keywords and you're not actively trying to rank for those, that's when the real win comes in because then you start showing up for anything that's even remotely adjacent to it. And then you don't have to pay for somebody to click through to your website.
Yeah.
However, with Google Ads, a lot of times you can see which keywords are really not just being searched because that's obviously matters, how much of is the search volume, but how much is actually translating into true leads or opportunities. So you can have one ad or one keyword that's really just driving a lot of traffic, but they're in research mode. They're not necessarily converting. So what I love to do is look and see which keywords are converting and then double down on that for my SEO. So again, you can do it for both, but you see my point.
Yeah,
Just try to
absolutely.
let them inform one another. They do serve, even though they might both use Google, the mechanism is different. The information you glean is different. And then how do you strategically layer them on top of one another? So the short wins, we love a short win, right? Like we love, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we turned it on and now we look like a hero, right? Whereas SEO takes much longer. The one analogy, I have a lot of analogies. So the one analogy I always use, and this is kind of what helps people make the distinction, is think of Google Ads as going to the grocery store and buying your tomatoes. You're like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to buy the tomatoes. Per tomato is more expensive, but it's right there. You can just pluck it right there. Growing a garden, however, is SEO. So then you are now in full control of whether or not that's organic soil, whether or not it gets water, how much sun it gets, and then you can reap the benefits for years and years and years to come. Whereas you can actually just go to the grocery store and just keep buying, hoping that the tomatoes that you bought are the best tomatoes.
Yeah.
And most of the time they are, right? But they're also more expensive. So you've got to ask yourself, wouldn't it be interesting to do both? Like have tomatoes that you can, pluck from your own backyard, but then when need be, you can go to the store and buy them. Again, it's not a perfect analogy, but that one tends to clean
No,
it up for
yeah,
people.
I get it. You are such a great storyteller. I
Well, thank you.
love it. I'm visually seeing myself in the grocery store getting tomatoes, right? Or in a
Right,
bin.
right.
Yeah. Do you have a memorable success story where you helped completely transform a client's growth trajectory that you'd be willing to share, that you'd want to share? You
Sure,
can leave names out if you want, but just,
sure.
yeah, I'd love to hear.
I actually have a few. The one I think that comes up the most often when it has the most impact was working with a company that did acupuncture for people who are having fertility issues. And I'm not going to name names, but
Yeah.
she's lovely, and she was working with families or women who are having fertility issues. Now, she is not just somebody who does acupuncture. She blends Western and Eastern medicine, and and so she had tremendous success, but she was really losing a lot of business to another local acupuncturist and also a fertility specialist. So two people that were doing separate, where she was kind of a combination of the two. And her clients adored her, but getting the name out was really the hardest part. She was strictly referrals, which for her growth plan really didn't make sense. So she was introduced to me through another mutual colleague, somebody who occasionally did some website work for us. So I remember sitting with her face to face, because again, not all of our clients are nearby, but she just happened to be in the same town.
Yeah.
And she was in tears. She was like, I'm going to have to close my business. And she was really upset. And I said, all right, well, let's take a look. She was working with an SEO, kind of like a big box SEO company that I'll be nice and not name names, but they were taking a lot of money and she really wasn't getting any kind of results. So we'll tell you what, a couple things. One, you want to change the name of your URL because it looked a little like the word panic. So I'm
Okay.
like that right off the bat. I'm like that you don't
Yeah.
wanna do that. And if memory serves, I think she didn't have a .com either, which will work against you with SEO. It shouldn't, but it does. So I was like, let's make a couple of changes. And we did. And she started getting some leads within 2 weeks. And she had said that she had enough revenue. She was going to have to close her doors in the following month if we didn't. And which I will say this in hindsight for anybody who's running their own business, I don't really like taking on businesses that are that close to the end, because then it looks like you're the reason they failed. And it's like, no, they took a lot to get here. But in
Right.
this case, it actually worked really well. So I'm happy to report that she's got 3 locations now, not just the one.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that was really awesome. And that was SEO and SEM. So,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and she's also talented. You can put
Right.
lipstick on that pig and it's not going to work.
Right, you can only do so much if the
That's right. She's
product isn't
talented. She offered very good experience and stuff. She
great.
really just needed bodies to come to the place. That's really
Yeah.
what she needed. So, and she also, I joke around and say that she's part of the reason why there was a population boom in Charlotte. It's all her fault. So,
That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. I know my godkids are in, Charlotte, although I don't think that they went to this client, but
Right.
part of that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
What is a belief that you have about marketing or entrepreneurship that goes against conventional wisdom? Or is there something that you
I don't know if it goes against conventional wisdom, but it does go against some of the hype that you see out there is that the fundamentals have changed and they haven't.
Mhm.
Now, how we do things might be different, but what needs to be done does not change. So, from where I'm standing, there are some key fundamentals. I actually even wrote a book about it, and number one is know your market. So you have to understand who they are, you have to understand how they think and how they make decisions. So is it that they want to buy ice cream? Great. Then where do you need to be for them to buy ice cream? If it's out in the desert, sure, but if there's nobody nearby, are they really going to travel that far? They're not, right? So you have to understand what foot traffic looks like versus what need looks like and how long will they take to make the decision. I'd probably make an ice cream decision a lot faster than I would a lawyer decision. So you have to know your market. And then when you know your market, you have to define your message. Like, what is it that you have to convey to them? Do they need to be educated? Most people know what ice cream is, but do they know what tort law is? Probably not. Do
Yeah.
they know they need a tort lawyer? What the hell does tort mean? Like,
Yeah.
do I need a traffic attorney or do I need a criminal attorney? Like, what do I need? So there's a degree of, so your message, if you're the attorney, is to try to convey to them you need me for X, Y, and Z. If you fit the following criterion, this is when you need me. Or are you hot? Are you hungry? Come get ice cream. It can be
Yeah.
very simple like that. So just know that who it is, how much is involved in making the decision, and then what kind of message you need to put in front of them. And then where does that message go?
Yeah.
Does it go on a podcast? Does it go on the radio? Does it go in an ad? Does it go on social media? Do you need to just do a quick video? Are you promoting a movie or are you promoting a mortuary? Like which one, really just makes a difference. So, and once you're done with that, those fundamentals don't change as far as the advertiser is concerned. But the one other M, and if you notice they're all M's, is manage and measure. You have to measure your activities. Because if you're not, then you're just like, well, I think it works. It feels like it's working. Or I get to put my face on an ad and that makes me feel good. Awesome. But does it actually translate into money? Which is
Yeah.
number 5, money, by the way. But
That's
it's like, so
great.
you follow all those. So are you managing and are you measuring results in an effective way? Are you saying, well, look how many likes I got? I'm like, how many likes turned into actual, leads, money, customers, whatever. If
Yeah.
you wanna live and die by a vanity metric, you do you, boo boo. But if you wanna actually make some money, you need to pay attention, like, what's the lifetime value of every one that you close? Because you may only need 1 a month. 1,000 likes isn't gonna change into anything, but depending on how much what you offer costs and how much of that becomes your revenue, what becomes your profit, you
Yeah.
might need 1, you might need 100. So it really just depends. So
Yeah.
that misconception is that, "Oh, I need to be on every bit of social media." Oh, boo boo, but you don't, though. You really don't.
Right. Right.
Chances are, if you're running a business, a small business, you likely don't need to be on every medium that they have out there. So figure out if you want to save your money, figure out who your market is, figure out how and what they need to hear to make a decision, figure out where they are and whether or not interacting with that medium makes sense. You don't have to be on all of them, just be on a few, and then measure those activities, make sure they're working, and count your money.
Yeah. You kind of actually just answered my question, but I was about to ask you if you could give one piece of advice to business owners who feel overwhelmed by digital marketing, what would it be? And I feel like you kind of just answered that, but would
Yeah,
you add
that's it.
anything? Yeah.
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 That's it, 'cause that overwhelm is very common, and it even happen believe it or not, can even happen to marketers and agencies
Yeah.
who, like, feel like they need to, and I'm like, "Follow your own advice, follow your own advice." Man, is it hard?
Yeah.
That's why the dentist doesn't work on their own teeth, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you need somebody else to kinda give you that perspective because once it's personal, that lens changes for you.
Yeah.
So, try to make decisions from an ROI standpoint, not an emotional one. Like, again, know your market. How do they need to hear from you? And then where would you want to put that? Does that mean that your face goes on it? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Does that mean that you need to put a picture of your puppy dog? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But you've got to ask yourself what's going to be compelling for your market with the mindset that they have right now. Like if they're urgent and freaking out, yeah, you might want to put your face on stuff because they need to trust you. But if you sell ice cream, you might not need to put your face on there. Just
Maybe
put
the
pictures of
puppy
ice cream.
works great.
Right, the puppy would work.
A cute
I think
puppy.
puppies kind of work in general. Just
Yeah. I know. Well, we have covered so much. Is there anything else that you would want to add to what we've already been talking
I
about?
don't think so. I feel like it's
Yeah.
a nice little snippet that if somebody really is struggling, that this is kind of hopefully actionable for business owners that listen to your podcast.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Trish. And to find out more about GoBeyond SEO, you can log on to gobeyondseo.com, or you can follow them over on LinkedIn. And thank you to everyone tuning into today's episode, brought to you by Exact Digital, your partner in performance-driven media across programmatic, CTV, paid social search, and more. Let us know how we can help you and have a great day. Thank you again for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate you.